So if you're watching this video, you clearly did the opposite of what the title said. We said, don't click this video, and yet here you are watching it. Why do you think that is? That's because the number one thing you need to remember when you're uploading to YouTube, uploading a new episode of your podcast, is that packaging is everything. Having the ability to generate curiosity or making someone say, I need to know what's behind that thumbnail or what's behind that podcast artwork, that is what gets people to actually click, listen, and watch your content. So in this video, we want to give you 5 tips to help you package your content. This way, that video or audio content that you have spent hours toiling over, recording, editing, and producing will actually be seen and heard by the audience you're looking for. Number 1 is you need to generate curiosity, whether that's your YouTube thumbnail and title or your podcast artwork and your episode titles. Having someone see those titles and think to themselves, I have to know what that's about, or I need to know more about what they're saying. That's how you get someone to click on your content, and then hopefully you've hooked them and retained them so they actually stick around. We'll talk about that in a second. A good way to think about this is you can generate curiosity by creating a knowledge gap or an information gap. Maybe you say something like, I made $1 million last month with my online creation tools. Well, you've now immediately created an information gap. You've told them something that is very interesting, maybe a little shocking, but you have not finished the story. That's going to encourage someone to actually stick around and listen or watch the rest of your video or podcast, and that's how you help that retention rate. So generate curiosity, both with your thumbnail, what they see, and in with the titles of your episodes or videos in what they read. Number 2, packaging actually isn't just thumbnails and titles. It's actually the first 30 to 60 seconds of your content. That's for podcasts and YouTube too. If someone's scrolling on the YouTube homepage and they roll their mouse over a video, it actually begins to autoplay. Now you don't hear anything, but you do see the first few seconds of that video. This has now become a way that people actually see what this video might be about and whether or not they actually want to click it. In the same way, you might have a podcast title that's genuinely interesting, so when someone taps on it, they're going to listen to maybe the first 30 to 60 seconds. That's why you need to make sure whatever the most interesting part is, you need to tease it right at the beginning. For a long time, podcasts have had intro music and maybe small talk at the beginning. We would encourage you not to do that. Put something incredibly interesting, hook them right at the beginning of the show, and then you can do some of your introductions and explain more later in the episode. Number 3, and this is a big one, you need to deliver on the click. That means whatever your packaging has been, your thumbnail and title for your podcast or video, whatever that thing is that made someone click it, you need to deliver on that promise very quickly in your content. If your title and thumbnail talks about how you were stranded for 7 days at sea, well, when someone clicks that video, the first thing they should see is a raft or some desert island that shows you stranded in the middle of the water. That means that you have delivered on the click. The same thing is true for podcast episodes. If you have an interview with a big guest and you say that they talked about creativity, then right at the beginning, when someone clicks on that episode, they should hear that special guest talking about creativity, and then you can lead into your introductions or about the podcast later. Make sure you deliver on the click the first thing that someone sees and hears when they click your content. Number 4, aim for originality and consistency. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but the first thing you want to do is try to stand out from all those other thumbnails or podcast artworks you see. So before you even brand your show, if you're just getting started, or you're creating thumbnails for your channel, search for similar videos that are in your niche or topic. Look at those thumbnails, look at those podcast artwork examples, and then try to do something different. Be original. Maybe it's different colors, a different style. Maybe your brand lends itself to just being on every thumbnail and episode artwork you have. Whatever it is, try to be original, but also consistent. But once you have that look or style that matches your brand and your personality, then try to be consistent. This way, when your thumbnails come up on someone's YouTube homepage or watch page, then they'll know that that's the creator that they like to watch. While having your face on it is good, especially when you're starting out, this way people associate your face with that brand. Eventually, you would like your style and brand to just show that, oh, that's this person's video, that's this creator's video. And once you figure that look out, then try to be consistent so your audience can pick your thumbnail out in the crowd. Finally, number 5, when you think about packaging and thumbnails and artwork, play to your strengths. If you don't have maybe a lot of graphic design skills or even software, but you're good at video and photography, then use that to your advantage. Have great photography or great video as part of your thumbnail. That's something I do personally is I don't have a lot of graphic design skills, but I know I can take good video. So when I'm thinking about making a thumbnail, maybe about a piece of technology, I can hold it up closer to the lens, I can see it focus, and then maybe I'll move off to the side. Then I can design a thumbnail from that just by putting some text or a gradient overlay. Or maybe you have some really good graphic design skills, but you don't feel as comfortable in the photography and video area. That's okay too. Maybe get an inexpensive green screen, we'll put a link in the video description, and then do a bunch of reaction poses where you do something like, or. And yes, you might feel a little crazy doing all those reactions by yourself in a room, but welcome to YouTube. Then once you have all those reactions on a green screen, use your skills to put yourself in different environments, maybe put yourself in front of graphs and illustrations or infographics, and you could still make compelling thumbnails and episode artwork just with you in front of a green screen. And if you've made it this far in the video, remember, you clicked a thumbnail that was completely black and a title that said, "Don't click this video." So sometimes you can break the rules and it still works out okay. If you'd like to learn more about packaging or video production and podcasting, subscribe to the Riverside channel. And if you have more questions, drop them in the comments below this video. We answer all of those there. I'll be answering them personally. And if you're looking for a next great video to watch, maybe check out this one. It's pretty good.